WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, often trying rare and exotic whiskeys. Not really sure how rare and exotic this is, but this might just be the best sherry cask strength, aged, stated single malt out there in the world. That's a statement, isn't it? I thoroughly enjoy the Glenallachie Cask Strength. This time I have batch number 10. This time I have 58.6% ABV. Just like every other batch before this is a mix from Pedro Ximénez sherry, from Oloroso sherry, from red wine, Rioja barriques, and American virgin oak sherry, virgin oak casks. I have no idea how big the batches are. I do know Whiskybase 239638 hit the shelves over here in Europe about the middle of October, and we're at a price of between 65 and 70 euros. So I am going to compare this to, and if you've ever been to my channel before, you know I always compare things. I'm going to pull out here batch number 7 and compare it to that. So I'll just take the bottle out, and I'm going to compare it to batch number 5. So now if you go into a store, you can always see that there is, with the box here, underneath the word cask strength, there's the nice little thing called batch. So here we have batch number 5. You can also take a look at the alcohol. So here we have 55.9 for batch 5. Here we have for batch 7, we have 56.8. And here we have 58.6. Now, just a little bit like, I'm going to say, Stag Junior, there's no batch on them. You just need to know the ABV. Here you can actually see there's always a batch number on here. Non-chilled filtered, yay. Natural color, yay. Cask strength, yay. Sherry bomb, yeah. This stuff is very good. On my German channel, I actually have a review where I did a blind tasting with a friend of mine who has another channel called Expedition Whiskey. He is a German YouTuber, and he had the batches 1 to 5, and he just sent them to me blind, and we tried them, and then I was able to identify batch 1 to 5, put them in the order. 5 was best. All right, and then the question is, what's happened since then? So this is Whiskybase 239638. The 7-year-old is going to be Whiskybase 205124. This, as I said, was October 2023. This was bottled in February of 2022 and hit the market around February 2022. And this was bottled in March of 2021 and hit the market around April 2021. So 2021, 2022, 2023. And of course our batches in between. Between 5 and 7 we had 6, which I don't have at the moment. It's empty. Between 7 there was 8 and 9, which I only had I don't think I even bought anything. I did have the 6, I know that, but I think I just left out a couple. Just why? All right, if I still have something in bottle, why do I buy a new one? All right, so this is excellent juice. All right, so this batch number 5 ran about 59 euros. This runs about 64 euros. This runs about 69 euros. So you do see a little bit of an increase. I think actually the recommended retail price was 69, and I actually got this for 67. So the question is, has the bubble burst already in the whiskey industry? Ooh. Is even evident here that the price has gone down 2 euros compared to last year for the same product. All right, now imagine you're Billy Walker, 2017, he bought the distillery from Pernod Ricard, and you have the vision, you're going to have 15-year-old, you're going to have 12-year-old, you're going to have the cask strength 10-year-old. So, and you're going to say, okay, 2018, maybe even 19, I want to have a product that is on the market. So I'm going to take basically 8-year-old whiskey that's already in my warehouse, re-rack it into Pedro Ximénez sherry, Oloroso sherry, red wine barriques, and virgin oak, and leave it set for almost 2 years, and then release this whiskey. At exactly the same time, probably he did the same thing to not a 8-year-old, but rather a 7-year-old whiskey. and let it sit for 3 years. Did it to 6-year-old and did it to 5 years old. Now we have 6 years since 2017. So this was basically probably a 4 to 5 year old whiskey originally, and he re-racked it way back then in 2017, 2018 as well. And it spent its entire time there. So this is not whiskey that was distilled by Billy Walker at Glenallachie, not possible. This was whiskey that was distilled at least 13 years ago. And there's a press release, and every once in a while they mention the fact that they spend over £1 million a year on casks, on purchasing new casks. From my point of view, they actually spend more money on casks than they do on barley. It might be wrong there. They might spend more money on casks than they do on energy they need. I think the energy is more than to distill a barrel of whiskey you need, at least for a bourbon barrel. You probably need more energy to distill it than you do for buying the barrel. But if you're going to buy a good sherry cask, they got expensive. I mean, the bourbon barrels used to be 100, now they're 220 euros over here at least. I used to be able to get a good sherry cask for maybe 600 to 800. Now we're looking at 1,000 to 1,200 euros for one single cask without any content. So that's actually a little bit of money that we have to pay over here for those good casks. And some of the other distilleries, maybe some of the other bigger global players just kind of said, well, we could reuse those casks again, couldn't we? And again, before we go buy new ones. So, all right, on the nose, will I find a difference? The 10-year-old is a perfect combination of sweetness, of woodiness, of fruitiness, and a little bit of a burnt caramel, a crème brûlée. Very, very, very nice. I thoroughly enjoyed the Glenallachie. The batch 7 has more of a sourness going on in here. This has more of a sweetness. It's interesting that there's variations. It might just because of the time it's spent in the bottle here for a year, almost empty. Not very often opened. All right, the 5 and the 10 are the closest. 7's a little bit of an outlier. But there's a little bit more of a pine note going on in the number 5 that I did not have in the 10. The 10 is for me so far the pinnacle of Glenallachie, the batch 10 of the Glenallachie 10-year-old cask strength whiskey I've ever had. I don't think there's a single product out there on the market at the moment that can beat this for value for money and for all of its qualities. Non-chilled filtered, no color added, cask strength, batch product, and 10 years age statement. All the other sherry batch, sherry cask strength products that I know of from Scotland don't have an age statement or don't reach that level, that pinnacle, the awesomeness of this bottle. This is really, really good. Let's try it. Cheers. Sláinte. Oh yeah. We did it's 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. We did a blind tasting of all those sherry bombs in cask strength. The Abalawa Abana, the Glenfarclas 105, the Glendronach cask strength batch, the Tamdhu cask strength, the Glenallachie, and I forgot the last one. There were 6, and this just beat everything. It was so delicious. I get dark chocolate. There's got to be some European oak going on here, if it's just from the red wine casks. This is 58.6%, and it's dangerously soft, silky, smooth, nice. I'm not even thinking about reaching over here and putting a little bit of water in this. I've had whiskeys that are 43% that are hotter than this 58.6% product here. And that's dangerous. Dangerously delicious. This is an A- whiskey in my opinion. I really like this. This is so good. Value for money. 67 euros is what I paid. C, maybe even a C+. Let's go for a C+. I don't think there's anything on the market that rivals this from taste, value for money, and for all of the statements that it has. It gives us everything. Natural color, as the ABCs, yeah, alcohol, the color, and also the bottling strength here. It's very, very, very good. All right, let's go back over to batch number 7. Was it, whoops, excuse me, almost as good or not as good? Just knocked over a little sample bottle. Nothing to be worried about. Mm-hmm. Had I not had this, I would have said, oh, nice, excellent, no good. There's a little bit more heat going on in here, interesting enough. There's a little bit more of that sour yeast type of moment going on in here. And even this, there's a little bit more of a bitterness of the wood. Now, this is still a B- whiskey, C++, B-. But the heat lasts a little bit longer. There's a little bit of that acid reflux, a little bit sourness going on in here. This is so much better. The number 5, the batch 5. I like this as well, but I like the 10 better. Spoiler alert. The 7 is the outlier. The 5 is nice. The interesting thing about the 5 is, though, I'm going to say this 10-year-old feels and seems to be older than this 10-year-old. Now, how can I say this? How can I justify this? If my theory is correct, this spent about a year, maybe a year and a half, maybe even 2 years more in, 2 years actually, 2 years more in old refills hogsheads. This has spent 2 years more or longer in excellent first fill Oloroso, Pedro Ximénez, Rioja, barriques, and virgin oak. And those 2 years do make a difference. I have no idea if Glenallachie and Billy Walker are actually going to have their own whiskey that's made today, have a full maturation in these casks. That would be maybe even too much. Who knows? Maybe they'll just be using first fill bourbon or second fill bourbon and then put it in the good cask for the last 6 years. I'm sure they're finding out at the moment, where is that sweet spot? Where can we use those casks the best that we can and make a product that is awesome like this is? All right, so my question of the day is, what product could rival this? Sherry bomb, cask strength, value for money. And if you can, age statement. I mean, it's got it all. It's got everything you need. And it's good. It's just delicious. Happy Jason. All right, thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing. If you have not tried the Glenallachie, the 15-year-old is always a treat. But to be honest, the 10-year-old cask strength is where I would gravitate towards a little bit more. I just love that bam of flavor and bam of the alcohol and bam of just the experience of having a great, great whiskey in your glass. Thank you. See you soon. WhiskyJason. Don't forget to comment, share, tell others, and hopefully have a great, great dram sometime soon. Bye-bye.